Hey, it's Brett and Coach here, and tonight I am off to Bridgeport, a neighborhood here in Chicago, to visit the Ramova Theater, which was originally a movie theater, which was built in 1929, and now it's renovated to a concert hall / brew pub. And for the brew pub, it is Other Half Brewing, which specializes, I believe, in IPAs. So let's jump on the train and head down there now. And while we wait for the train here in Uptown, let's actually do a little bit of research so we know what they're about. So it sounds like it was a movie theater, like I said, built in the 1920s, 1929. Then it shut its doors to movies in the 1980s. But then in the last handful of years, it was repurchased, turned into the brew pub, the stage, and the tap room. Then they partnered with Other Half, which is originally from Brooklyn, New York, brought them in, bringing their beer to Chicago. And we're not going to the show there tonight, but Dororio, which is an EDM artist, will be playing there at 10. So hopefully we're able to grab food, enjoy the tap room, and then get out of there before too big of a crowd. Just made it off the train. So Ramova Theater is about a 6-block walk from the Red Line. So it is a pretty nice night for being end of December, and it's in the 50s. Plus it looks like the Sox field has a little drive-through Christmas pop-up with all the lights. If our little bit of research into the tap list is that the menu's kind of divided into two sections. The first off, one section seems to be beers that are like their flagship stuff, that are brewed off-site from this tap room, and then they have another section which is the stuff specifically brewed on location for the location. So that means we get to try a little bit of what Chicago has to offer, as well as their stuff from New York. Not quite sure what I'm more excited for. The beer, obviously, but also Ramova with their restaurant is actually really known for their food, apparently. They claim it's like gastropub food, but elevated. So I'll be kind of excited to check out the menu and see what I have for dinner. And looking through the tap list, looks like they have a 1-year celebratory beer on draft. We thought they opened in the summer, but congratulations to 1 year. Hopefully the ale is as good as everything else. And it looks like the show tonight is actually sold out, so good for them. But also that makes me worried to see how busy will it be, even though the show isn't for a couple hours. I wonder how full the tap room will be, especially when they don't accept reservations. So we made it in, seat yourself situation, so we took a high top. So let's actually start looking at the menu. And as well as seating yourself, everything is ordered at the bar, including food. If you want to skip to the TLDR end of the video, go to this time. And this is what I was talking about with two sides of the menu. They have the drafts and then the house brewed options too. So we opted to do 2 flights of 4 each, so we get to try a little bit of everything. So it's going to be a big rapid fire taste test. And with our 2 flights, comment down below if you have a style preference when it comes to beers. Typically I go for sours, but anything kind of with a funky taste, I'm here for it. Let's start off with Cheddar, which is an Imperial IPA. Very smooth, not super complex, but very drinkable. Next up is Forever Ever, another hazy IPA. A lot more tea and passion fruit flavors like the description says. Very floral, almost earthy, but that little bit of sweetness cuts into it. I'd probably give it a 7.5 out of 10. One of the flagships here is Green City, another IPA. I think I like Forever Ever a little bit more. This one's not quite as sweet, but a very similar taste profile. I'll give that one a 6. How we kind of divided the flights is Brian's big on IPAs, so he got 4 of those, and then I got all the things that I found interesting or weird. And for the final IPA, I think it is Hard Scrabble. I was confused by the flavors. It's that candy melon flavor that wasn't really expected. Unique for sure. I would probably give that a 6.5. I could see that one growing on me. Now, my flight is up next, starting with a Berliner Weiss. This is Bubble Garden. Very classic flavors for this type of beer. A little fruity, a little funk to it. Pretty clean though. I think this is my favorite one so far. I'd probably give it a 7.5, maybe an 8. And now doing a complete 180. This is Bacon Buns, which is a Dunkel, which I don't know if I've ever heard of a Dunkel beer before. It's a dark lager is what it says. Very coffee forward for scent. Very inky black for flavor. It's like they took the most mid things about a stout and mixed it with a very mid lager. That's not on them, that's just the style. I would probably give it a 5 out of 10. Don't think the flavors mix for me. Second to last one. This is Big Rip, which is a coffee lager, a coffee dark lager for technicality. Much more coffee flavored. Oh, I think this is much better for the coffee flavor. That is like drinking chain coffee, and this is actual coffee house stuff. Significantly better. I like this a lot. Now, the beer that I talked about earlier, so the big finale. This is their 1-year anniversary called Beer 1. Fruity and floral scent. Very citrusy. Is that in the tasting notes? I think I'm picking up on like the citrusy more hops versus actual citrus fruit. Not my favorite thing I had so far, but for 1 year, solid. I think my 3 favorite would be the Forever Ever for IPA. It would be the Bubble Garden for the Weiss. And then I'm going to say my other top one is Big Riff, which was the second dark coffee lager. This one might be my favorite, but they're all so different that it's hard to put them in a 1, 2, 3 order.
I really do appreciate the variety of having a bunch of IPAs, and that's kind of what it feels like they're known for, but then having all of the different offshoots so you can kind of get whatever you're feeling beer-wise too. But Brian and I said we liked basically the exact opposite when it came to flights. He preferred the IPA flight, while I preferred all of the other ones. Ultimately, it just kind of comes down to taste preference, and usually IPAs aren't my go-to, while for him it is. The beer isn't quite your thing. They do have plenty of cocktails ready to go too, so you can get whatever you're really feeling.
And besides the dinner menu, it looks like they have a pretty solid brunch menu as well, coming with its own set of cocktails. So with it now becoming happy hour, a bunch of 12-ounce beers are now only $4, and burgers are $5 off. So instead of both of us getting an entree, we decided to order a burger, some onion rings, and some cheese curds, and just split everything down the middle for dinner.
The cheap beer.
And then what I got for my happy hour beer is the wit beer. Nice little flavor there. It's not overpowering, but it's going to be very drinkable, especially when it comes to food. A little sweet, has a little spice to it, not as in like spicy, but as in flavor. The menu explains it as spicy with a zesty kick, so I expected a little bit bigger flavor profile, but still good nonetheless, especially during happy hour.
All right, my take on the wit beer. Here we go.
Very drinkable. That flavor of like honey and the oats come through. Yeah, this is great.
So we got our burgers super quick, as well as these delicious looking cheese curds, and onion rings are up next. And the onion rings as well. Very interesting sauce choice with the cheese curds. It's almost some sort of like Asian spicy sauce. Like almost a sweet and sour. Not something I would expect to put on cheese, but 7 out of 10.
But let's get into this burger next. Again, Brian and I split it. Pretty classic diner burger. Can't really go wrong. I would probably say 6.5 out of 10. Nice crunch. Maybe not my favorite fries ever. I'd probably give them 6 out of 10. I like the cook on the onion. I like the breading. Not sure about that sauce. It's like a spicy chipotle ranch. I would almost prefer just regular ranch, or I'm weird, even ketchup. I think my favorite is either the onion rings themselves or the cheese curds.
Whatever this sauce is that came with the cheese curds, star of the show. It really grew on me.
And with dinner completed, overall I'd probably give it a 6. I do recommend eating fast, since when things cool down, especially after deep fried, they can get a little hard. So I felt like the fries got a little extra crunchy, same with the cheese curds and onion rings. So I recommend fast as you can, jam it all in.
And with their happy hour special, it definitely looks like it picked up.
Finished my full pour, so I think we're gonna get one more just because the price is right. Finish that, and then we'll head on out. But I really gotta decide what I want for my last one. A lot of decisions to make. I think I've made a decision. And I had to go back to what I enjoyed most from the flight. This is a bubble garden. Glad I went back to this for my last one. And Brian got
BA Deep Orbit Cygnus, which is a BA Imperial Stout.
And with his barrel-aged stout, it should have notes of caramel, chocolate, nougat, and peanut butter. Hopefully it's good. First reaction, let's go.
Like sweet and chocolatey. Like, the peanut butter's there. That's nice. It's good. What would you rate it out of 10? 7.
So let's see if Brian's 7 out of 10 is accurate. No real smell to it besides alcohol. It is like 14%. The peanut butter flavor is at the end, but I wish it was stronger for how thick it is, flavor-wise, not alcohol content. With the caramel, nougat, chocolate, not as much. I expected a little bit more, but for a stout, drinkable either way. Just maybe slightly underwhelmed. I would probably give it 6 out of 10, a little lower than Brian. Also, Brian just brought up a really good point. It's very cold, probably too cold for a stout, so we're gonna let this warm up a little bit and then start to try it to see if the flavor profile develops with it being closer to room temp. The stout warmed up a little bit. Brian's been sipping on it this whole time. This is my second try of it. Scent pretty similar, maybe more of like a malty chocolate note compared to the first time, but not enough to confirm that. A little bit of a richer, deeper taste on the back end, but I think it's more of like the caramely nougat flavor that's coming forward versus the peanut butter that I felt like I got the first time. I would probably keep the rating the same as I did before. It's solid. Would I order a full one? Probably not. A sip or two is plenty for me. And we are wrapping up here at Other Half at the Ramova Theater. If you like content like this, go check out a couple different videos about Beguile, where I do a taproom review. I also do an Oktoberfest review, and there's just a general little night out review, as well as check out my Copenhagen vlogs, where we went to a couple breweries in there as well. So with all of that, make sure you hit like and subscribe so all videos hit your inbox so you don't miss a thing. Well, if you skipped ahead to the TLDR, welcome. If not, thank you for watching the whole thing. I appreciate you getting my watch hours up, so hopefully I can get monetized. I hope the next time you fly, you get upgraded from Coach, but it's okay if you did skip parts of the videos. The pros and cons of Ramova. Let's start with some pros. Catching happy hour like that made the price not bad, since the beer and food, like the burger and snacks, were discounted. So for not knowing that they do happy hour Wednesday through Sunday, 8 to 10, we got lucky because it's Saturday. Secondly, another pro is the variety of beers. Yes, they do focus on IPAs, but they do have enough for everyone, so you can kind of pick and choose what you're looking for. Another pro, I would say the vibe in there and the staff, excellent. Love the holiday spirit. Everyone was very friendly when it came to bartending, very on top of things when it came to delivering food and clearing stuff off of tables, even though it was bar service only. So to not have a waiter but still get that service Much appreciated. For some cons, location. Kind of a double-edged sword. In this area, solid location. Is it easy for me to get to? Yes and no, but I will give it bonus points for public transit. It's probably about a 10-15 minute walk from the Red Line, so very accessible for the city. So also a pro and con. The main con, the food. Granted, not bad by any means. And if you are a couple drinks in, I think it would be significantly better. It's just nothing to really write home about. It was a lot of fried bar food. The burger was fine. It was, like Brian said at one point, it wasn't much better than like a Wendy's hamburger. The fries were a little hard, especially when they got cold. And for the onion rings, like the batter just wasn't quite working. But the cheese curds and sauce, highlight. Would I go back there again? Yeah. Am I going to seek it out every weekend? No. It would be a good change of pace, especially to see what they have seasonally. But other than that, I had a fun night out with Brian. Additionally, it's good to know that yes, the tap room is at the Ramova Theater. We had very little to do with the actual concert that was going on there, that people were lining up outside. No real impact on the actual dining experience with the event going on. So it's definitely something to think about or not really think about. This has been Brett and Coach with another Brett in Chicago video. Please give me a like and consider subscribing, and have a great rest of your night. I will see you in Coach. And if you liked this video, YouTube suggests these two videos that you might like as well, so please click on them to keep watching.